Hello guys, it's Chama Center. Today I want to make a video talking about why I don't like Bakugan Battle Planet. Now this doesn't mean that I hate the series and that I'm not going to do anything else with it. I still do plan to get some stuff, but initially I wanted it to try and get every single release. That's definitely not happening now. I don't hate the series or anything, I just think it's not really that great. Also, this doesn't mean that I think things are objectively bad. These are just my own opinions on things. So just because I say something in this video doesn't mean that it's like actually an issue with the series itself. It's just a personal thing. So this is like a personal video, just explaining why I don't like it that much. Not trying to call the series bad or anything. But anyways, let me just get into this. First up, a lot of Bakugan design stuff. This is like a really big thing for me. Like a lot of the designs are just, I don't think they're very good. Alright, so here's a couple of core Bakugan that I have. So first up here we have Pegatrix. So, sorry my camera doesn't always focus well, but you can kind of get, even if it doesn't focus much, like you can still see like the design, like just how it opens up, right? And you could just see how much of like the ball is still left intact. Like it's like almost like a whole ring is just there. Like I don't know how to explain this properly. Like it just feels very large in a way. The legs are small, they don't open up very well, like the back legs, same thing. Tail's pretty average. The wings are, you know, they're wings, I guess, and there's that. It's a very, I guess, chunky looking Bakugan, and it's not, this isn't like a weird case. Like, if you just look at Dragonoid here as well, this is like the new Dragonoid, it's not the Pyrus one, it's the Diamond one. But like it has the same issues of that. It's very chunky. The arms are small. The legs are small. The wings and tail are like the only normal things. The head is like tiny. And you kind of just see how these issues, you know, might affect the design. And like these designs, they kind of just seem very off compared to the originals. Like, one thing I will say about the originals, they had a lot of manual parts. Here is an older Bakugan here. I just kind of picked this guy at random. I didn't really care who it was, but like you can kind of just see. Here's an old Bakugan. Alright, the head, yeah, it's kind of small. The wings are here. You know, they're pretty average. Tail. There's these like leg type things, or wings, I don't know what to call them. Unfortunately, these are like very loose, but whatever. And you kind of just put them side by side. You can see like there's a big difference. This guy, even though he still is kind of similar to these guys where they're still like in a chunkier form, because like he doesn't really have much coming out from his body, he still somehow pulls off the look better, I guess you could say. At least in my opinion. So I think part of this, there's two main things I think that this is like, that cause this. First up, the Bakugan are very large compared to the old ones. You can kind of just see how this guy, you know, if you look at him straight on versus like up this Pegatrix, this you could just, it's bigger. It's obviously bigger. Personally, I don't like that very much. I think that kind of makes the designs look dumb. Like this guy here, he's kind of chunkier as well, but because the ball is smaller, you know, like the proportions don't seem as odd. Where this guy here, it's like tiny legs, pretty big head, and like giant body. Like it's weird. The other things I think is like the lack of manual parts. Most of these Bakugan just don't have manual parts, and while a lot of people, I can see why people would, you know, like that, I feel like it just kind of destroys a lot of designs. Because, you know, manual parts really help extend the design. Like, you can have a basic design, you know, as they open up, but like, just you get these extra details that you can't really fit into, you know, a regular Bakugan, I feel like. Maybe that's just me, though. Yeah, I don't know, I feel like a lot of the core designs are just not great. Now, the next part has to do with the Ultras. Now, the Ultra designs tend to be pretty good, actually. See here, here's a Garganoid Ultra. You know, it looks pretty good, actually. I mean, you got a lot of legs here, and the wings are, you know, pretty big, got a tail. Head's kind of small, but whatever. Anyway, let me just set him down. So, you know, he looks really, really cool. I like this Bakugan a lot. The issue is how hard it is to close. dear God, the Ultras are a nightmare. You have to look up a lot of these. Like, some of these closings you literally have to just look up. And I've spent 10 plus minutes on a lot of Ultras just trying to get them to close. It's, like, actually horrible. Garganoid was kind of difficult, but not horrible. There's probably better examples. Again, I was just kind of picking random Bakugan to talk about. Like, just to kind of prove my point, I didn't even really plan these Bakugan. I just kind of grabbed random ones, and I'm like, alright, I'm just going to work with these. But even like Garganoid, it still took me like at least 5 minutes to close. Like, a lot of these Ultras are just a bad time to close. And I don't think that's a good design choice, especially to sell to little kids. Like, if you're trying to sell these to kids, you don't want to be too complex. Now, I kind of do appreciate how they're trying to have, like, these more complicated designs. But again, manual parts, it would make things much similar. Like, if these, for example, like, if you take this guy, maybe, like, these wings could be, like, manual parts. Like, they can kind of just maybe have them folded up more, even more than this, possibly. And then, you just kind of could pull them out or something like that. Or, maybe even parts of these, like, feet, where there's, like, a hinge or something, like, these little parts down here. Or maybe these actually are manual. Hold up. No, these aren't even hinges, my bad. But certain parts could probably just be made manual, not, spring-loaded. And it would just work a lot better, in my opinion. Now, the Armored Alliance ones are actually a lot easier to close, so they have improved it in that regard, but I have my own issues with Armored Alliance Ultras. But yeah, a lot of these were just horrible to close, and they have listened, so this point is a bit null, I guess you could say, but I still want to mention it anyway, because it just... Why? Like, it was such a bad idea to make them, like, ridiculously hard to close. So, yeah, it's... I don't know, this guy... this one probably wasn't, like, the worst one, but still. And also the magnets are in weird places. That was actually a good idea, in my opinion. I will give them credit for having the magnets be in, like, other places that aren't just, like, the bottom. It definitely opens up more design choices, so I do say that's a great idea, but, like, yeah, some of them still, like, even with that, like, you think with magnet locations being different, it might be easier to close, but I guess not. I don't know. Yeah, I just want to mention this. I guess it was kind of a null point in some ways, but oh well. Alright, now let's talk about the Armored Alliance Ultra designs. Oh boy, okay. So here's an average, design for, another background from the Battle Planet series. Okay, this is a Diamond Pegatrix Ultra. It looks pretty nice, to be honest with you. Stands up. Looks good, alright? This is a good design. Even though it's not really my favorite thing to close, it looks cool. And then here's the Armored Alliance version, which is, I guess, supposed to be an upgrade, and, What is this? What is this? If I grab the original Pegatrix, right? Like, these look closer than this guy. What happened here? Like, actually, though, what happened? So, the design on this is genuinely terrible. This is one of the few Bakugan that I actually did handpick for this video, because it just... What was this? Again, the body is very chunky. Then you have these legs. These legs are pathetic. They're tiny. And they even used manual parts for this, too, so it's, like, even less of an excuse. They look pathetic. The tail's large because it has a magnet on it, which is used for gear. Okay, that's fine. These wings are decent, I guess. And then this head is pathetically small. Like, what? You had the original Core Pegatrix with, like, a gigantic head, and this thing is just, like, a nub of a head. Like, what? What is this? So, yeah, that was a very upsetting thing here. But, yeah, it's... I don't know. Now, you could always say, oh, we have, the gear. The gear. And I will say, the gear does make this look better. So let me just... And these little, like, peg things, let me just put them on really quick. Like, putting these things on, yes, this does look better. This makes the design look a bit more complete, but it still doesn't take away from everything. And there's this gear here, which is like a cannon thing. You throw this on the back. Alright, cool. This is like a full decked out Pegatrix Ultra. And it looks better, but again, the core issues are still there. You know, like the legs are still pathetically small, the head is still tiny. It doesn't fix the core issues. It makes it look a lot cooler, but there's still issues there. And then if you take like a Gundalian Invaders Bakugan, which also used gear, alright, this guy's kind of weird looking, to be honest, but you know, he looks decent enough. His proportions aren't completely whack. And then you take a old gear, and you throw it on. Alright, there we go. And I feel like that's kind of an issue with the Armored Alliance Ultras. It's like, they sacrificed way too much of the design to make the Bakugan look good. Like, here's a great example, is Blitz Dragonoid. This supports battle gear, and you can, and the way it does it is you literally take this, and you kind of just pull it forward. And it looks a little bit weird like this, not gonna lie, but not bad. But it supports battle gear, and I don't have a Pyrus, or like a Pyrus colored battle gear on me, so bear with me when I use Swather, but like you could see, like this design looks fine. It doesn't have the core issues. Like this one's only issues is when it's in the battle gear position, but it's meant to have the battle gear on in the battle gear position. You know, and when it's not, you know, when he doesn't have gear, you're supposed to, you know, put him back to normal, where he looks fine. This works, this doesn't. Now, my next point is the fact that they merged Subterra and Ventus into one attribute. This is going to be like a shorter point, but I just don't understand it. So, okay. Ventus is supposed to be wind. If you actually look up Ventus and all that fun stuff, it actually is supposed to mean wind. Or something or other. It's similar to wind anyway. Like it's based off of wind. That's what it's based off of. Everything you can even look up like the definition of it. So now they removed Subterra, but they kind of merged Subterra into Ventus. Ventus is no longer wind; it's nature. But with that doesn't make sense. The actual Ventus term, it's based off of wind. So the fact that it's now nature makes no sense and is really stupid. So, why did they remove Subterra? Well, it's probably because of Arliss, but, like, did they really need to? Like, was Arliss that important? And Arliss is supposed to be, like, a rare, you know, hard-to-find type of deal, so I don't understand why they didn't just make that more of a special treatment, like a special 7th type of, like, crazy mythical attribute or whatever, like it is. Like, why not just do that and keep Subterra? I don't get it. Maybe it's the color palettes, but still, like, they could have gone more of a Gundalian Invaders route, and that would have looked a lot different than what we have now for Arliss. Just a minor complaint, to be honest, but I think it was really weird that they did that. Alright, next up is the TCG. I'm just going to set this guy here because I actually do... trust me, it'll make sense in a bit. But anyway, the TCG was interesting. You can tell that they're kind of straying away from it, I feel like. I mean, they put all their TCG stuff into Bakugan Pro stuff, and that's very separated from original, like from regular Bakugan Armored Alliance stuff. I feel like they're trying to phase it out. That's not 100%, but like I'm just trying to, you know, bring that up. It's possible. But the TCG is a mess. The whole thing where you have to... Basically, your deck is your life. I dislike that. I think it's stupid. But, you know, okay, that's not an uncommon thing. But then you have flip cards. Flip cards basically stop, you know, basically if you're getting, you know, your deck destroyed, if you come across a flip card, that will stop it right there. So they're very useful, but I feel like they make way too many flip cards. It's like you literally need 1 or 2 per attribute. Why are there this many? Like, it's just kind of a weird thing that I don't understand. But the big part about the TCG is Arliss, which is something that I don't like. That's why I put him there, because he's an Arliss Bakugan. Now, here's the thing. Arliss was supposed to be an attribute, or I guess they're called factions nowadays. Sorry, I'm used to attribute. Arliss was a faction that was basically supposed to be very powerful. You know, you have good B power and good damage, but you don't really have the ability cards. That's kind of its gimmick. It's more of like they're powerful, but they don't have support, where other Bakugan, you know, they have good B power, but low damage, or good damage, low B power, just kind of like an average, you know, between both. But they have the support that Arliss doesn't. But then they come out with a set that is all about Arliss cards. And while yes, Arliss does have less, why did they come out with support for Arliss? It didn't really need it, to be honest. I don't get why they came out with so much support for it. It just kind of ruined the gimmick of it, in my opinion. If Arliss, I'm not really the most, like, knowledgeable in the TCG. I'd be lying if I said I was. If it was supposed to be a buff, that is not how you go about buffing it. If you wanted to buff Arliss, make the B power or damage output higher. Because it's supposed to be no support, they're just strong. If they're still not strong enough, make them stronger. Don't add support, that ruins the entire gimmick. Alright, my final point here is just Bakutek. Now, you know, Bakugan in general even, like this... Bakutek are just so much better. Like, if you compare these two, there's no comparison. Like, this was just an average Bakugan from Bakutek. This isn't a special edition. This is just a regular-ass Bakugan. Alright? And do you see how good this thing looks? It has, like, metal everywhere. It looks great. This is like peak design of Bakugan. Even comparing, like, another Bakugan, like Blitz Dragon, I'll just throw him back here, I guess. But even with something like this, which is a pretty cool looking Bakugan, it doesn't compare. And this even goes against, like, classic Bakugan, too. Bakutek is just the best design possible. Like, I think that they should have made even if it was just like a special collector series, that was something like this. These Bakugan were so high quality and were just peak design. They were so much better than anything else we've ever seen, and unfortunately it was only in Japan, but honestly, after being with Bakutek for over 5 years, if you don't know, I've had a long history with Bakutek. But after, you know, being kind of into Bakutek I was into Bakutek for like 3.5 years before the reboot came out, and it's been another 1.5 years since then. It's just better. Like, there's no contest. Bakutek is just the best Bakugan design type. I don't know what I'm even saying. They're just the most well-designed Bakugan by far. It's not even close. Like, I would say peak design for regular Bakugan definitely isn't the reboot. I'd maybe say New Astroya or Gundalian Invaders was pretty good. Like, those would probably be, like, tied for top, or maybe one, or I don't know. Both of those are really good, though. But Bakutek is just leagues ahead. It's not even close. And that's kind of my final reason to why I just don't like the reboot as much. Like, it's not... Like, cause I've just had Bakutek since, like, after Bakugan ended, and it's just been Bakutek until the reboot. And honestly, nothing is really going to compare to it. I think that's kind of why I started to dislike the reboot, is just because of Bakutek was just so much better. Like, it's kind of rough because it's very biased in that regard. Like, that's why I made the disclaimer, like, at the beginning of this video, is because I'm biased because of this. And I feel like they're just so much better in, like, every way. Even the rule set is more interesting. Like, with critical KOs and stuff. But yeah, it's just superior, and I don't think anything we'll ever get is going to be anywhere close. Yeah, that's all I really wanted to say, so... Well, that's my video. I'm probably going to get spammed with dislikes because people are going to disagree, and that's how it works. But whatever, that's fine. I just want to get my opinions out there. Sorry if this wasn't, like, the most professional type of video. I just wanted to get my thoughts out there. I'm going to do a little bit of editing with this video just to, like, cut out some of the extra parts, but whatever. Just want to, like, talk about it, I guess. Have a discussion. Have a discussion in the comments if you want to. I will be responding to hopefully every comment, unless it's just, like, I agree or something. But... you know, if there's a comment, like, asking me something or giving an opinion, I'll try to respond to it. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. So anyways, thanks for watching, and bye-bye.